bothering most of the Indian minds as to, having done what you have done, now what is the scope for us to sit down and talk on the table? May I request Ambassador Dr. Dinesh Bhattarai to make his presentation, please?
Sure, thank you very much. It is again a privilege and pleasure to be in the company of these distinguished panelists. And it's such a pleasure to join this webinar chaired by our respected professor. I think majority of the panelists today are your students, sir. So, yes, in your opening remarks, as you said, what is the nature and character of Nepal-India relations and how are they changing? Yes, Nepal and India, they are two sovereign and independent countries, and they have a very, it's a wide-ranging relations, multifaceted, as you said, largely independent relations, people-to-people relation, not only government-to-government, but people-to-people relations. These relations have come a long way, and yes, in between, I will try to be short and then answer the questions that my very good friend Ranjit ji raised. And in between, the several dynamics have emerged. Nepal has come a long way after it entered into modernity in 1950. It has been a long way. We had a very brief experiment with parliamentary democracy, and then authoritarian system started, and then that lasted for 30 years. I will not go into detail. And then again, the advent of democracy in 1990, and then comes the Maoist, a decade-long Maoist insurgency, and then the peace process. India's role remain important for the successful transition of Nepal to democracy, and I would say to the democracy, and I would say stability also. And there are several other factors, several other dynamics. They include a new generation with new aspirations. Whether we like it or not, let us call it the revolution of rising expectation of the new generation. They are more assertive than submissive, and they seek inclusion in the governance. They want to have their say in the governance. And we have open border, the other dynamics that we have, open border, people-to-people relations. I must say here that whatever goodwill and friendship we see every day in comprehensive interaction at the people-to-people level, that is not reflected in government-to-government relations. Now, our challenge is how to fit these dynamics to the tune of the 21st century. There's so many challenges. Now we are passing through a difficult time, pandemic, and we have to fit in those emerging dynamics in that framework. And for anyone who wants to see good relations between Nepal and India based on mutual trust and mutual respect, I think present time is not a state of satisfaction. The present state of Nepal-India relation is in contradiction to to the ground realities that we face in everyday life. Now, the perception in relation to regional dynamics, as you mentioned, sir, yes, we see in the beginning of a pandemic that Indian Prime Minister took the lead in convening the video conference of SAARC leaders. That I find quite encouraging. This we need cooperation, we need solidarity to fight this pandemic. So I think revival of SAARC would improve our situation. And they have also set up a COVID-19 fund, and these member countries have contributed. I think India has contributed 10 million US dollar. Our future is when we look to we look ahead. We are more dominated by the traditional attitude, traditional mindset, the frustration of the past, than the possibilities, than the opportunities of future that we have. So we have not been able to attain to those possibilities. Now, my Ranjit ji said that I agree, you know, the EPG, Eminent Person Group report, the investment was made by two governments. Two governments sent their representative, they formed the Eminent Person Group, they worked for 2 years, the hard work, and then they submitted the report. It is up to the government to go for recommendation, to implement those recommendations contained in the report, but even its submission has not taken place as yet. I think as our chair very correctly mentioned, and I agree, that at least India could show a gesture that it could receive the report and the things can move ahead. Yes, 2014 was a high point in Nepal-India relations. You know, the visit, prime ministerial visit from India came after a gap of 17 years. We were very much encouraged to hear him at the Constituent Assembly. He mixed his speech, you know, starting with the Nepali language. He won the hearts and minds of Nepalese people. And in one stroke of his speech, he erased the long-standing misunderstanding and misperception about India. And that generated a moment, that I feel that generated a moment. But that moment did not last long. Why? Now, when he came, when the Prime Minister of India came to Nepal, we were in the process of making a constitution. And he said that it is your business, you make your constitution. Fine, we made our constitution, but when it was about to be promulgated, there was a last-minute rush from India, and the sovereign parliament, sovereign constituent assembly had sealed everything, and the constitution was ready for promulgation. You know, there were some councils. After all, I feel that constitution is an internal matter. And also that India helped so much in the democratic transition of country of Nepal. And when we promulgated an inclusive federal democratic constitutions, India didn't even welcome it. India just made a note of it. Fine. We have nothing to say on that. But the following that, we faced the economic blockade. That generated the anti-Indian feelings in Nepal. And it is no secret, I think whether people agree with me or not, you know, the anger over economic blockade was exploited, fully exploited by the current ruling party at the election campaign. And so that part, I would add here that because of these actions, repeated actions, it has created a new generation of generation with anti-Indian feelings, which we do not want. Yes. Now, why at this particular time Nepal is moving, turning against, Nepal is turning against, you know, this coming up with a map. We are sad to see the tension in the Indo-China border. We are sorry for the loss of lives there. But please understand that this is not to time the publication of our map was not to time that tension building up at the border. Let me go back. The issue of Kalapani and Shustar is a long outstanding issue. It is a pending issue, and of course, it started in 1960s. We had an authoritarian system, and there was no free flow of communication. So it came out, it came to the forefront of Nepali politics only after the advent of democracy in 1990. Since then, it has been raised with India, and two prime ministers, Nepal and India, they have discussed this issue. They have agreed to put it as an outstanding issue in their joint statement. When Prime Minister Gujral came here, when Prime Minister G.P. Koirala went, so to cut the long story short, in 2014, when the prime ministerial visit from India came to Nepal, and then Prime Minister Koirala raised it with a visiting Prime Minister. And they discussed it, and they agreed to include it as an outstanding issue. And they directed the foreign secretaries to work on it on a, I quote, on a priority basis. And I'm sorry to say that the foreign secretary level mechanism did not even meet once since its formation to this day. So the outstanding issue was there, and we are just waiting for the discussion and discussion. Suddenly, on November 2nd of last year, India published a map including the area of Kalapani, that is Limpiadhura and Lipu Lake. And we were, then we said, well, unilateral action is not acceptable to Nepal. This is a contested issue. And then we requested for talks. There was no, it started all in November last year. We requested for talks. Let me tell you, sir, there was an abundance of patience on part of Nepal. Nepal kept writing and writing. Nepal will write again, but there has been no response from India. If I may add here, we have not even got a response to our diplomatic note of 2015 when we expressed our displeasure at the inclusion of Lipu Lake in the joint statement between India and China, issued on May 15th, 2015, during the visit of Indian Prime Minister to China. So we exercised with restraint. We abundantly waited You know, there's abundance of patience. And then we requested for talk, and again, you know, this May 8th inauguration of that road acted as a trigger, sir. Otherwise, we are waiting for the response. And the inauguration took place in the midst of pandemic. We said that let us talk. We again sent no, diplomatic note requesting for talks. You know, we have not given diplomacy a chance to work. And I do not think that one meeting will solve this problem. I do not think one telephone call between two prime ministers will solve this problem. Diplomacy is a process. It may take years and years. We are ready for that. Since we raised it, we have been waiting, and it is outstanding. Let me tell you, sir, the joint technical level boundary group completed 98% of drawing the street maps, and they could not complete this Kalapani and Susta. So in this context, I would say that because foreign secretary level mechanism which was formed to discuss this issue has not even met once, and we have gone bit far, we have gone ahead. So I would submit here through the chair that political leaders have to step in. Yes, since we have it in our constitution, that has hardened the position. I think as my good friend Ranjit ji referred it, yes, we have cool-headed approach, and that inclusion, fine. But I believe that it is not beyond the wisdom, it is not beyond the leadership of the two countries to have it resolved. So the two leaders have to step in. We either now as a big country, because we have been writing and writing, so Nepal to maintain good relations. And I don't know what is the latest position, because I am not in the government. I cannot say that. But yes, even in internal politics, was reported. Yes, ambassador has a series of meetings with political parties of the ruling leaders of the ruling political parties, and then they were on the borders of the differences were becoming sharper, and suddenly they came together. It is there, yes, and that one is there. I do not deny that it has come into the media. Having said that, I will add one thing, sir. Nepal is not a communist state. Yes, I have a government which calls itself with the government, itself a communist party. Yes, it is my government. It is the government of the people of Nepal. People of Nepal elected this government. So for 5 years, it is our government. So we want about yes, I have one thing to say, that you have to respect the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of this country. That road, fine. Mansarovar Tirtha Yatra road. But with the consent, with the knowledge, with the honesty,
Dr. Bhattarai. I'm sorry I had to interrupt because we are going little beyond, much beyond time. You have really passionately presented the Nepalese case. You are absolutely right in saying that the present relationship are in contradiction